Welcome into another episode of The Blueprint. It is Victory Monday over here. I am Jake, but he is our quarterback, Devin Gardner. We're excited to have you guys. Want to give you a quick reminder, especially after that performance. Like this video. Subscribe to this video. As DG says, make a second account, like and subscribe. Send it to your friends. We are like a freight train moving down the highway, down the railway right now. You want to jump on, otherwise get out of our way.
I sure hope we aren't a train on the highway, because that could be dangerous. That would be dangerous. We could be doing 100 on the highway, and if you do the speed limit, well, you guys know the rest.
Yes,
yeah, get out of our way.
Hey, this is a good episode though, Dev, because not only are we going to break down Bryce Underwood, but we had Bryce Underwood in the same conversation as yours truly, Devin Gardner, last weekend, talking about some of those stats that Bryce was breaking on the ground.
Is that right?
Yes. Did you see it?
I might have got a glance at it. Yeah, it was very encouraging. I really enjoyed seeing that. It's like, wow, look at that.
And then
cool
it was just like,
wait, you're old.
You have a quick moment of excitement, and then
it's like, oh man, yeah, and it's just like, oh, I used to look like that. I used to be able to run like that.
Yes.
No chance of me no chance of me versus 7-year-olds rushing for 100 yards right now. So
yeah, that was
really cool. It was great. The whole day was great for the Michigan Wolverines. Just getting a chance to see Bryce really live in his element and play football the way he's played his entire life. That was really cool to see.
Yeah, so I was on the call for the game, so I got to do the coach meetings, got to talk to Sharon, Chip, and Wink, did not talk to Biff. And, of course, a ton of the conversation was about the offense and what the game plan was going to be. And, hey, are you going to unlock Bryce? Are you going to let him run? Hey, what's your third down? We talked about it last week. What's your third down game plan? Are you going to hand it off into loaded boxes? Or are you going to let this young, talented guy
Did
throw?
you ask it like that?
I did. I said, Coach, I'm just doing the math. You only have 5 to block 7. What's going on here? And he said there were just similar things to what we talked about last week. Sometimes it was a missed call. Sometimes the call wasn't getting heard in the huddle, which is going to matter on the road at Nebraska this weekend. So a little bit of everything we talked about. Want to give you the floor, though, Devin. Just what'd you see, man? What stood out to you about the offensive game plan last week?
Well, it was very clear they made it a point to say, Bryce, we love being in the pocket, but if there's a chance to go, you go, right? When you come from high school to college, it's a learning curve on how to run at this level, right? Some guys are just super, super talented where it'll be fine. They don't really need to work on it. But a lot of guys, you have to figure out the speed of the game, the angles of the game, and how defensive players attack you. And so when the game plan of just straight drop back pass against OU kind of faltered in the beginning, like we discussed about, a lot of people were saying, well, just run them.
Mm-hmm.
Just run. Well, that's not something you can just do. And that's not something you want to do against OU the way they're playing with the confidence they were playing with. But I knew for sure that coming into the next week, like I said, a less aggressive Central Michigan, you'll get a chance to see all those skills and work on those types of things before you get to Nebraska. And it was masterful to see. I mean, I really enjoyed seeing them. 1 read, 2 read, go. It's gone. Yes. It's an open space, right? 1 read, sometimes 2 reads, sometimes 3, go. And then the special play, right? So all the plays were, everybody talks about managers of the game as if that's not a good thing. It's an outstanding thing. And I don't even like to call them managers because of the negative connotation. I want to call them controllers of the game. And he controlled the entire game. And then while you're controlling, handing the ball off, just throwing to the right guy that's open, sometimes there comes a time where you get to be a hero, right? You get to put the cape on like we talk about.
Yep.
And his moment came when he rolled right. And if you remember against Ohio State, I was on a broken foot.
Yeah.
I had to pick up that first down. I pumped to the sideline, killed Bradley Roby, and limped to a first down. Well, guess what? Bryce Underwood's not limping. Right? He goes right, and he sees that it's not open. And most quarterbacks, 99% of quarterbacks aren't going to get to this run for a touchdown. However, right, he's feeling good. He's feeling confident. He sees there's a plenty of space backside. He sticks that right foot in the ground, makes a move, and gets in that end zone. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
And it just shows the type of skill set that you have with Bryce Underwood, which we on this show have told you. That's the clear thing. We know about the skill set, the ability to throw the ball, the ability to run the ball. However, you just got to continue to get ingratiated into what college football is, and it'll be just fine.
Yeah, it was. I kept reiterating it. I just thought it was a great game plan by Chip Lindsey because you know this.
Amazing.
How often is it Michigan against a lesser opponent that they have outmatched? And you on paper, you think, hey, maybe this is the chance to try out some things in the pass game. But historically, I think
you don't.
You don't. They just run the
tired
ball
of watching it.
And they sleepwalk to victory.
You just bully them.
Because
You
they
just
can,
bully them.
because they, exactly. And that's I was nervous going into the game. Are we going to see that? And it's from the very first play, taking a shot. I agree with you. Getting Bryce on the move, moving him outside the pocket, both directions. A couple times where he's going 1, 2. Okay, then I run it. But then they even called design runs. That quarterback power, I believe, in the second quarter with Max Bredesen and Jordan Marshall lead blocking for him, like design quarterback runs. They did the total picture. And another thing that stood out to me, Devin, about like pocket presence and awareness. Last year, when the O-line, I called the Arkansas State game. So Davis Warren was playing quarterback, and a few times Evan Link would just get beat clean right at the snap. And what Davis would just get smacked in the pocket. No chance. That happened maybe 2 or 3 times where some offensive lineman would get beat clean, but Bryce has just this natural ability to slide and step and move and avoid the rush, and then he would turn it into an explosive. So it was the total package, an impressive victory, all around. Can you talk to me? I really wanted to ask you this about one of the plays I'm discussing here. Evan Link's playing left tackle now. And one of the times where Bryce avoided the rush was Link got beat clean as a left tackle. So I was wondering, he's got eyes in the back of his head. How do you guys see that? How does he see that? How do you feel the rush when it's coming from behind you rather than what you can see in front of you?
Well, a lot of times when the ball is snapped with your peripheral vision, you can see like if a guy got a really good jump on your tackle, right? You can see if he got a really good jump. And then other times as you're dropping back, right, a lot of times the read is to the left side, right? So you're looking that way so you can kind of get that peripheral a little bit more, right? Other times it's a lot more difficult and you got to be special. Your peripheral has to go all the way around almost like an owl, right? Especially if the read's all the way to the right. But if you're down the middle to the left in any way, you should be able to feel and see. You haven't played quarterback, but when you're at tight end and you're blocking everything, you know like the noises that you hear?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? We can hear when somebody's running real fast about to get a sack, right? So you kind of feel that, and you can do a lot to help your offensive lineman by stepping up into the pocket and allowing them to push it around and create that kind of up or like it's called pocket like atmosphere for the quarterback. Yeah. And it's a skill that you have to have, but you usually don't have, and you don't have to be a runner to have it.
No,
Jake.
Tom Brady was great at it.
Yeah, a great idea is you have to feel and manipulate the pocket to what you want it to be, right? Manipulate the pocket. That means if I feel him having a little pressure there, maybe I'm not supposed to be over there, but I have to change where I'm supposed to be and help my offensive lineman. And it just happens to happen way more when you are athletic, but guys that can't move well, they can do it too.
Yeah, that's a great word. It's feel. That's one that's less about thinking. It's more about just an innate feel. And I think it's so impressive for an 18-year-old to have that feel. Just to stick with the Bryce conversation, and then in a second I want to talk about Donovan McCulley because they mentioned to us, hey, we really want to get number 1 more involved, and they did. But just to stick with the Bryce conversation, this is what I saw. It jumps out of his hand. Like he has a fastball that is a 99 out of 100. He has high level throw power. He's just got a gifted arm. But what we saw in this game was the touchdown to Samaj Morgan and the corner out to Andrew Marsh. It's his ability to change the throw trajectory and change the throw pacing. Some guys like Brett Favre, he could throw it hard. Every throw he threw was a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. But Bryce has the ability to throw a fastball and a changeup. He has the ability to throw with the sidearms to find those windows in the pocket. And I understand the opponent, but he showcased everything you'd want to see just operationally and fundamentally from a quarterback talent and fundamental standpoint. Are you seeing that now through 3 games with him? Is there anything maybe that you haven't seen that you would like to see from him?
Yeah, and For me, especially coming off of OU, I don't care what the competition is. We want to see to make sure that not only is Bryce competent, right, but also see how his skills can translate even against that lower competition, right? And so a lot of people, they talk. A perfect example is I had Texas Tech this past week, and they had destroyed two teams, 66, 65, just absolutely killing teams. And so now they get a chance to play against Oregon State, and everybody's wondering, well, this is a step up in competition. Will it look the same? Well, guess what? If you do what you do, right, a lot of that stuff stays the same, right? So being able to see the capability now, I will tell you this, it's going to put more pressure on Chip Lindsey, right? Because as you and I know, Central Michigan, they just don't have the players, right? You can't, it's going to be a lot bigger open windows and all those different things. You can do a lot of different things against competition like that. However, right, when you show how talented Bryce is, there's really no excuse moving forward, right? Because we know what he's capable of. You talked about the ability to change throws, and that's the arm talent we talk about, right? Being able to throw that fastball, that's with strength, but also being able to navigate throws up and over defenders and down into the receiver's hands. That's a skill that everyone doesn't have, and we just saw that Bryce Underwood has that and his ability to run the football. Now, I just want to caution everyone and really tell everyone, he's not going to have to run. If we have to rely on him to run as much as we did in that game, that'll be a problem. Right? We have to make sure that we do it in spurts, right? We can't have him at 18 years old now, and everybody's going to say, well, he's big. Yep, that doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Because guess what? They're bigger
and
stronger. You know what I mean? So you want to make sure you in those critical areas, always think of like Josh Allen. Josh Allen could run for 150 every game.
Mm-hmm.
He could. But in a lot of games, and this is where I think he's really made his change when he used to turn the ball over a bunch where he would press a ton, right? They take the game out of his hands until he needs to wear the cape, right? So now you get into 3rd and 4. Everybody at home, if you're watching the Bills play and it's 3rd and 4, you're assuming that they're going to get the first down. And if not, they're probably going to get close, and then they'll get the first down, right? So that's the feeling I want to have, and I think that's the feeling we can have with a Bryce Underwood, and don't try to use him up every single down because we're not running the ball properly. Now, him being in the run game as far as a read option quarterback and maybe just giving it, but to carry out that fake, because you put that stuff on film, now he's a real threat, right? Because nobody wants to let a quarterback, let alone a true freshman, 18-year-old quarterback, just run around the edge, right? So they're going to keep multiple defenders, right, on the edge to make sure that he can't get it. And so now that opens it up for Haynes and the rest of those running backs.
It's a great point. And that's the other thing too, is you open it up in a game like this, knowing you can get away with calling more of those plays, and knowing that means Nebraska next week has to spend some of their resources prepping for it. And it's an excellent point. And what you said about the game plan, Biff Poggi was the head coach this week, and he gets up there in the post game, and of course everybody's asking him about, man, Biff, that looks so different against Central and Oklahoma. What happened? And Biff was very, forthright. He said, listen, we on the road against Oklahoma, we knew they were an air raid type team, and we thought we were going to take the air out of the ball and run it. And then he said, yeah, that'll never happen again. We have Bryce Underwood. That will never and can never happen again. I just think that's really encouraging because, man, that he's just too special. Put it on his shoulders. And another thing is you have special wide receivers. You went out there and you brought in Donovan McCulley. You said it last week. He's wearing that coveted number 1 jersey. Mm-hmm. And, Chip told us in meetings, pregame meetings, he said, listen, we have a special receiver in Donovan McCulley. We want to get him the ball. We tried to get him the ball, but we have to. It can't be negotiated. We have to get him the ball more. And they did a great early in the game. They were looking number 1's way. Often they were looking his way, and he's been delivering consistently now throughout the season. So what do you see about what excites you about the wide receivers, and what did you see this weekend?
I think they're continuing to get used to what Bryce is capable of, and the speed of the ball, the timing in which that ball is getting there, the ability to make plays when he starts to scramble, right? Because that's a skill. That's something you have to work on. You have to get on the same page with your quarterback, and they're starting to be able to do that, and it's really cool to watch, because it's like you have an opportunity to watch a young quarterback grow with a group of wide receivers, and seeing Marsh get his opportunity was extremely encouraging, right? Because I remember in the first game, it just felt like he wasn't very comfortable, right? Had that fumble early. Then you throw him a pass, and he maybe doesn't make the play. You want a guy like that to continue to get comfortable, and though McCulley is the guy right now, as the season goes on, I would not be surprised if it's not 1A, 1B, where we believe in Marsh just as much, and we can get him the football as well.
Yeah. No, and they said that as well in the meetings. It's like, listen, with a young kid and Andrew Marsh, it's a lot of it is just earning trust. And you see you see literally the full picture of a talented freshman. The talent is, look at the special playmaking, look at the speed in which he plays the game. But then you see the freshman mistakes of a holding, and I think there was a personal foul on him as well, that both negated big time gains for Michigan's offense. So for a young guy, it's often not about adding things to your game. We know you're talented. It's about removing those mistakes. It's that old adage in football of more games are lost than won. And how about Samaj, man? Samaj made some nice plays too. Really nice catch on the sidelines on a 3rd and 10. Bryce threw a dart out to him. He came down with it. Good to see him healthy. I know we talked about that last week. Hogan Hansen, great catch, mossed down the sidelines.
That was so nice. That was so nice.
Beautiful ball again. So, and then Biff Poggi calling the game. One thing that stood out to me, so the 2-minute drive, Central Michigan couldn't do anything the entire first half. And then right before going into half, Central Michigan gets their backup quarterback in, and he's a true dual threat, and he's running the ball, and they're milking the clock. And then they get inside the 15 or 10 yard line, 2-minute timeout happens, and then they run another play, and the clock's going to tick. Bang, Biff was right there ready to call a timeout. I mean, it was no hesitation. He was ready.
Yeah.
And that's what a head coach is supposed to do in these games. So I thought Biff did a good job managing it. When Bryce threw his interception, first guy to greet him on the sidelines, Biff Poggi. When Barham goes down with an injury, there's Biff Poggi laughing and joking with him. Anything stand out to you about Biff as the head coach?
I think he did a great job of managing the game, right? And coaches don't get a bad rap for that word, right? Managing the game, but he did a nice job of that. And it was good to see him completely engaged. And I love how, a matter of fact, he was about certain things, like, we're never going to do that again.
Yeah.
Right? We're not going to sit on the ball. Right? Now, is it a little bit of tongue-in-cheek, like how much they're going to – because you can't just be completely Bryce-centered, right? You want to still gradually bring him along, right? Remember, young quarterback, right? So you don't want to put that – you don't want to do what everyone did after week 1, right? The expectations are through the roof. It's everything. He's a hero. He can do it all.
Yeah.
Which he probably can, but you want to temper the expectations and just know he's fully capable, but we want to be able to lean on those veteran football players and then allow him to play. And that's not a slight to just a freshman. That's what the Bills do with Josh Allen.
Right.
And that's why when it's winning time, he's got so much juice left.
Right.
He's ready to go because he's just been chilling.
Yeah.
He's been chilling, watching the game. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, first down here, first down there. Oh, nice throw there. Just don't turn it over. Oh, now it's winning time. Let's go get it. Right now it's mine. Right. And that's the thing I think we can have with Bryce Underwood. But that's going to take us to our first break. And guess what, Jake? What do you think is on the other side?
I think we need to do a quarterback eval. We need to go a little deeper.
We got to go deeper. We got some plays. Got to go deeper and see exactly what it was. Bryce did well. Some things that Chip Lindsey did well. Some things they didn't do well. But some things that we still like and are super encouraging because they're growing. But before we go, remember, you have to like, subscribe, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere, podcast, where do you get them? That's where you need to be. Because I'm just telling you, like Jake said, we're a freight train on the highway. We'll be back on the other side.
All right, we're back here on the Blueprint. As Devin said last segment, please hit that like button, that subscribe button, share it with your friends. Follow us on all social media platforms at the Blueprint UM. And as promised, we got the QB eval. Perfectly fitting day because Bryce Underwood was in the same sentence as Devin Gardner. The first quarterback to run for 100 yards in a game since Devin Gardner.
That's right.
Now with the outfit change, the all-white, icy.
Hey, I'm going to take it off, but I just want everybody to see. This is my victory jacket. Like, I'm wearing this all week. Like,
we're hoping you wear that a ton of times this season, too.
Yeah, man, the little throwback starter, Ty Mopkins.
Looks great.
Very fancy.
Yeah, it looks outstanding.
Yeah, it's very nice. Very nice. Get you one. They're probably gone, though.
Okay.
Just to let you know.
Exclusive.
No, we can get you one.
Jake.
You're Jake Butt. We can get you one.
Okay.
Talk to people at home. People listening. You might not be able to get it. I'm sorry for radio listeners. Can't even see the jacket. It's very nice. All white.
It's a good looking jacket.
It was about as clean as the performance that we saw from Bryce Underwood. Very encouraging, like we talked about in the last segment. The ability to see all the multifaceted skill set that he has. It looked like the number one player in the country. Though against lower competition, we still wanted to see some things because it was a lot better than what we saw when they played against New Mexico. I'm sorry. Yeah. So that was very encouraging. And now we're going to take a look at some pictures, some good, not any really bad, and no ugly, right? Just good and
love it.
We'd like a little better here, right?
Yep.
So first one, I love this from Chip Lindsey from the start, right? Making a point to say, hey, we're going to move you. We're going to have you in the pocket. We're going to run you. You're going to have opportunities to run when you don't see anything downfield, but you have two elements of that here. On the move, also, you have a run-pass option, right? We don't really talk about the sprint out as the run-pass option like we do with the RPO, with the handoff and things like that. However, this is basically a naked bootleg to get on the edge with a personal protector, right? So you get on the edge, that's an emphasis right there. And then a simple concept. Everybody that we know spacing. And for radio listeners, it's a play that it's as old as time. You literally put guys in different spaces. On the next one, you'll see, and it creates a triangle that the quarterback can see very easily. And so now you can just read defenders, right? Is this defender taking something away? Is that defender taking something away, right? And is the inside guy taking? Does he overplay? If he overplays, if he doesn't get to the flat right away, do I throw it to the flat, right? So it creates this triangle read that allows Bryce Underwood to see it very clearly. Love that from the start, and obviously Bryce Underwood executed it perfectly with a nice fire throw to Donovan McCulley.
So as he's rolling right, Dev, this is like the mid '90s Bulls offense. It's the triangle offense. As he's rolling right, he has three options, and he's reading that flat defender there. Wherever he cannot be right. Wherever he goes, Bryce goes and hits the other one. Right, is kind of what you're saying. In spacing, I love the way you put it.
Yeah, the only you got to get in open space, and the only way this is not a great play, but then it turns into a great play because of the quarterback that he is if it's man to man, right? Because now there's no space to get into, right? It's more of a zone beater. But then when you put him on the move, this is what you love from Chip Lindsey. Putting him on the move means it doesn't matter what the coverage is. If it's man, you run, right?
Yeah.
If it's zone, you'll read the triangle, right? So it gives him a clear picture of what he needs to do, what he needs to see, and then he lets his talent shine. Next picture. Now, this is drive concept. Maybe not as old as spacing, but it's pretty old, right?
Yeah.
Drive concept, and it's what we call a pure progression, right? Pure progression. And at home, you're probably wondering, well, what is pure progression? Well, it gives you the opportunity to see a route, see the next route, see the next route, and see the next route. So no matter what the coverage is, you're going to get to the right throw, right? If the first read is open, Jake, what do?
Take the first read.
Oh, wow. Well, Jake, you're super smart. What about if the first read is not open? What do?
You go to the very next read.
Okay. All right. Okay, this guy must have read my notes. I don't know what's going on here. Well, what if the second one isn't open?
If the second one isn't open, then you're going to go to your third read.
This guy went to private school. I knew it when you first came to Michigan. This guy clearly went to private school. Yes. And obviously the rest of you at home can deduce that you go to the next read. And for Bryce Underwood, his legs are also a read, right? You can run at any time throughout that progress, right? So let's see the next picture. Pure progression, right? So at the top of the screen, and if you remember at home, if you're on the radio, you can't see the picture, you know that you got the big corner that he threw to Samaj Morgan. Outstanding throw, and it'll be even more impressive as I continue to explain this. However, let's start at the beginning. We're going to look at that as a 1A and a 1B with Donovan McCulley. I just forgot Samaj's name. With Donovan and Samaj Morgan, right?
Yes.
So you got Donovan McCulley on the flat route and Samaj Morgan on the big corner. Now, you can easily throw this ball out to Donovan McCulley. However, you can see the two defenders at the top have their eyes on Donovan McCulley. That's why we go 1A and 1B rather than just 1-2, so you can eliminate something. You can see those two routes at the exact same time, right? So you see those, and your first thought is, I might be able to have Samaj. Why? Because of the posture of the guy who would be covering, whether it's zone or man, the posture. He has his feet facing Samaj, and Samaj is running full speed at him. You don't have to be a football genius to understand that Samaj just has the advantage right away. This guy's going to have to flip his hips and run very fast to get in front of Samaj. So that's our number one because of the way the defense is structured. Now, let's say that guy gets on top of Samaj and does a great job and he flips his hips, and Nebraska, right, they're a little bit more talented, right? He can get back. Now it's very simple for Bryce, because for Bryce, and try to picture this for me if you're just listening, you're not watching. If you start your eyes to your left, it is so much better to move slightly to your right than to have to go all the way back to your right. If that makes sense. Everybody understand that? Right? So
because the routes on the right are running towards your vision.
They're running toward your vision. So it's not difficult. You don't have to go past a bunch of stuff to go find your next throw. It's honestly just here and then kind of a drop of the eyes right to your right. And then the next read, which would be the basic route by the tight end, just a little bit to your right. And it all gradually happens at the exact same time. Pure progression. 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5. And the 5, it's got to be his legs. And we saw a lot of that on Saturday as well. So love that from Chip Lindsey.
And this is what they say, like with young quarterbacks. You guys have probably heard offensive coordinators say, yeah, with young quarterbacks, we want to get to pure progression reads for that exact reason, Devin, because it really is simple.
You can't be wrong.
It's you're not even reading coverage. You're saying, is 1 open, is 2 open, is 3 open, is 4 open. It's just that simple for a quarterback.
Yeah, and remember on the previous episode, we talked about Bryce's inability to see coverage early. That's what you do early. You do pure progression early. So now he feels good, right? So now when he drops back and you start to get into it's either a cover 2 side or a man side or a 3 side, like, because you get to those combo coverages as the better teams come. Now he feels good about it, right? He's already seen some completions. Now he can try to see what the safeties are doing and then pick the correct side. Outstanding job by Chip Lindsey. And then, and then this is when the special talent of Bryce Underwood comes in. Move to the next slide. You probably didn't see this in the game because it's just a nice throw. This is trash all around your feet. Now, the entire offensive line is doing a great job. However, there will be times where guys get crowded, right? You get a guy and he's pushing you back and you're crowding the quarterback. The quarterback has to remain comfortable. He gave a little bit of a back out, created a little bit of space, and he threw this ball with great air, great touch. And this is what you talked about in that first segment. Not just the fastball, the ability to layer the ball. And if you need that moon ball that we saw from Russell Wilson, right? Dropping it. How about him turning back the hands of time? But that's a story for another episode. Dropping that ball from the sky and allowing, like I talked about with John Mateer, where he throws a ball where guys don't have to move their hands. The most talented quarterbacks that throw those accurate footballs where a guy doesn't have to really move his. Samaj does nothing here, right? All he did was move his feet, and then have your hands where they are, and the ball just drops right into his hands perfectly. This is outstanding for Bryce Underwood. A simple read, and I like to call it elementary concept, graduate level execution.
Nice.
Right? So it's an elementary concept, a very old concept, not hard to read. Literally, if you want to try to play quarterback, you just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'll get you to the correct guy. However, the graduate level execution, understanding that you can make this throw, being able to make that throw, and then doing it with trash all around your feet.
And where he releases this ball for our viewers, in this photo we're looking at, Bryce is releasing the ball. Samaj is at the 20-yard line right now, okay? And Samaj catches this ball right inside the 5-yard line. So just talk about the anticipation and the accuracy, just high-level stuff. Graduate level execution, exactly.
Yep, elementary concept, graduate level execution. Let's move to the next one. Now, Chip, scrap this play. Scrap it. I never want to see it again. Right? This is another sprint out, right? And this is a concept that you do see -1 guy, right? You see that high corner, kind of like a flood concept. You got the overcoming to him. You can see he's sprinting to the right. Donovan McCulley is running back toward the block him. Never. Don't want to see it again. I do not want to see it. For your viewers, you imagine you're running right and you have a receiver running left about 15 yards down the field. That entices your quarterback to be talented, too talented, and throw it back across his body when he doesn't need to. Now, the good thing for Bryce Underwood, he did not get enticed, right? He did not get enticed to try to get it to the guy wearing the coveted #1 jersey, running back inside. I don't want to see it. He instead beat the edge, right? He got around the edge because of his speed, and then he saw Samaj Morgan and put a perfect throw on the sideline. Great catch to get his feet in for Samaj Morgan. However, this is all about scrapping the McCulley part of this play. I don't want to see it ever again. Hopefully, he got the wrong call and he maybe, I don't know, maybe he thought it was scrambled or something like that. I don't want to see it. Don't trick your quarterback into throwing the ball inside if he doesn't have to.
That's why I think it's on McCulley, because we were taught, I know you played receivers, tight ends. In the scramble drill, you never run against the grain back to the middle of the field. That's when interceptions happen. So it's a great point.
So let's move on to this is what will happen, right? You be enticed to throw inside, and you can see there's a lot of white jerseys. And you know, the thing you have to know is Bryce Underwood is extremely talented. I was less talented, but still pretty talented. Denard, very, 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 very talented. When you're talented and you see a guy open, sometimes, and shouldn't happen all the time, but sometimes you make a rash decision and say, hey, firstly, I believe I can get in there. I think I can beat this guy with the throw. And that's where you start to see interceptions and different things like that, right? So you want to guard Bryce against that. He's going to have those opportunities to make those mistakes. Don't build it within the offense. We don't want that, right? So let's move on to my final picture. I think this looks at least decently familiar. How many guys are in the box, Jake? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Too many, right?
Everybody, 9.
Who's on the outside, and what number is he wearing?
That's number 1, McCauley, 6'5".
All right, so let's formation. Let's make sure he'll be over there by himself. Let's see how confident Central Michigan is in their defenders. Okay, let's motion Bredesen across. Okay, he chases. We have to throw it. It's first down. You got to throw it. I don't care if it works or not. They need to know that you will do that, so maybe that removes a guy out of the box when he starts to catch those. Now, was this a great route by McCulley? No. Was this a great throw by Bryce? No. However, I love it. I love it. Give them the chance to work on it in the game, so now when the fire's hottest and we get in a conference play, they can feel good about trying this, and it's not the first time they did it. Love that they put this on film.
And here's the beautiful thing about that, too, is, this is the good thing. When you have a big NBA body, basketball type body receiver and Donovan McCauley, and you throw it to him, it's not just a catch or an incompletion. There's also defensive pass interference. And this was a DPI because McCauley presents such problems for the smaller defensive backs that they do push them and hold them and grab them. And
you have to. What else
they got
you
a fresh
do?
set of downs. Exactly. So even
He's
on an
open by
incompletion,
biology, Jake. I like to call it open by biology. He was
What's
born
that?
open.
Open by biology is a great way to
born
put
open.
it. Yes.
Right? He didn't work to be tall.
He was born open, yes.
He was born open. By biology, he has to try to get the ball, and I love that they did that on this fade route for the listeners. Donovan McCulley, it was a fade route, wasn't complete. However, it's on film, and they got a chance to do that.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Great stuff. I got 2 plays to show you here as we roll to them, and there was so much good. This was like an A+ game for him. Other than these 2 plays, so the very first play of the game, you're running a play action and you're taking a shot. And I love that Chip Lindsey says, okay, you guys want to see Bryce throw the ball? We're going to throw it the very first play of the game. And he's looking at 2 reads. The tight end, Zach Marshall, is running a very deep crosser. They have 3 receivers out to the left. Zach Marshall is running a deep crosser across the field, and Channing Goodwin in the slot is running like a post. Bryce, when you go to the next picture here, his eyes should be on that safety that I colored blue. He's on that bottom hash. But you look at Bryce's eyes, and he's seeing the top safety on Channing Goodwin, and he's saying, man, Goodwin has that top safety beat with leverage, but his eyes never get down to that bottom safety. That's the guy they're trying to put in a bind on this play. Zach Marshall is running the crosser, but we talked about body posture and body positioning, Devin. You look at that safety, go to the next slide. You look at that next safety. If Bryce gets his eyes on that safety, the body posture and body positioning should say, I cannot throw that post in this situation. Even though it looks like Goodwin has that top safety leverage, the bottom safety says, I cannot throw this post. And I'll go to one more slide. The other thing is situational awareness. This is the first play of the game. This is 1st and 10. You get into play action and look at the positioning of Central Michigan's defense for our listeners at home. They're all dropped. The nearest defender is 11 or 12 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So they are getting into deep zone drops. 1st and 10, your check down's wide open for an explosive
100%, because Central Michigan watched the film. They saw him on 1st down every single down, pretty much run the football, right? Yes. So now they are scrambling to get back. Scrambling. And when you play more football, you get more opportunities like Bryce Underwood will. He'll understand, okay, I want to throw this shot. However, they're probably going to be scrambling to get back because of the run fake. And when they do that, that's why you get that separation from the fullback, 11 yards. And then also, he's talented enough. He could have layered that ball to the over route to the tight end. Yeah. Now, listen, the one thing he has to worry about there, when you have these over type routes that are coming all the way across the field, you want to check the depth of the defense. Everybody listen again. Check the depth of the backside defense, right? So that will help you understand, can I get this ball there or not? Because this bottom corner could sprint back. Right. And if he does, you just do what he didn't do. You throw it to the flat because he's no longer there. And now you really start to see great quarterback play where, hey, I'm going to assess that deep post. I want it. Okay, that safety's barring over. That means I need to get to this over route. Okay, I can't get to the over route because the corner's gotten too much depth. Oh, yep. my flat, and he's probably going to run for 25 yards. So
yeah,
outstanding job by Chip Lindsey giving him this chance early. I'm just so happy it wasn't an interception, right? Because then you start the confidence starts. Oh no, I threw an interception on the first play. It didn't happen for him, and that's great. So he's able to move throughout this game and do a lot of the different things that I outlined in my pictures.
Yep. So in summary, like Devin said, Bryce's eyes, they started with the left safety, and he sees Goodwin open. What he should have done is start with the bottom safety on the hash. And as soon as he sees that bottom safety, he says, okay, maybe I have the over. Then his eyes should go to that bottom corner. But like Devin said, look at that posture. The corner is turning and running underneath the over route. Now you get your eyes to your check down, and that check down would have been an explosive, Dev.
Jake, I think you could have played quarterback, man. You could have had a shot, man. Because when you break it down like this, everybody at home, people that are watching, even listeners, I think we're doing a good job of illustrating. Yeah. I think they're like, wait, that seems so simple. It can't be that easy. No,
it's not that
now,
easy.
Now, it does get sped up with the more talent that you have, right? And the defenses get more difficult. But even for Oklahoma, we saw a lot of simple concepts that they put out there.
Yeah.
Right? We just weren't able to execute. This is how defense is played, right? It's a lot of simple stuff because, for me, don't tell anybody, but I don't think defensive players are very smart. I'm just saying.
Hey, see ball, hit ball, right?
Why would you choose to start off behind?
Yeah.
That's what you choose as a defender. At the second you start playing football, you say, you know what? I want to give the people I'm trying to stop a head start.
Right.
I want to be facing backwards.
Right.
No, that doesn't make sense. So, that's not a great decision to start. So you have to infer that maybe they aren't that smart. And so they have to do these simple concepts, but then they do wrinkle in of some very difficult stuff that you have to deal with when you do see it.
No doubt. No doubt. Okay, let's go to the next play here. And this one was an interception. So a very similar concept as we talked about. You're getting Bryce outside the pocket, and look at his eyes. So our viewers, this is a two-man concept. You have Andrew Marsh running a corner route, and then you got, I don't know who this is. I think it might be Channing Goodwin running what we would call a pylon route. So
it's kind of like a flood concept.
Yep. It looks like a corner, but it's going much, much deeper. So Bryce is seeing this down the field. And once again, where are his eyes? Your eyes got to get to the right place. There's a corner right above the hash, and he's playing in between Andrew Marsh's corner route and the second guy's pylon route. Right now, Dev, another thing, go to the next slide. It's 1st and 10.
Don't love it.
These guys are dead. There is nothing about this that should say, there's nothing that says I'm going to push the ball down the field. Yes.
The coverage has lifted, right? They got a hat for a hat. It's early. You don't need this. This isn't something you need, right? But, Jake, can I tell you the answer on why he did this?
Why?
He's feeling good, man.
He's feeling good. Yeah.
I'm telling you, it is what it is. When you play against OU and you don't play great, everybody's talking, chirping, doodly-doo. You got Jake, got Devin telling you what you didn't do, all these different things. And you get in this game and you're playing the way, at this point, I think he may have had like 100 yards rushing or 90 or 80, something like that. He was cooking with his arm, with his legs. He's untouchable. He's invincible. So I'm glad that this happened. Don't love the three interceptions, but I'm glad that this happened because he's going to play in games, and he's going to be feeling good. It happens to all the good quarterbacks. You feel so good that you feel like you cannot ever miss, and that's not a place that you want to be, right? You still want to be rational with the way that you operate. And so this was an irrational decision because he's feeling really good, and I'm not mad at it because when you're feeling good, you want to try things, and sometimes it works out because guess what? He throws to Hansen. We're not going to show it, but everybody remembers, and he mosses that guy. Guess what? He's not open.
Right.
But I'm feeling good, and I think my wide receivers are feeling good, so let's give him a shot. Right? So this is one of those, I'm going to give him a shot because I'm feeling good, we're playing good. Didn't work, but now it gets you back in that humble frame of mind of like, hey, go through your process.
Yeah.
Right? Go through your process.
And to put a bow on this, going through your process, once you see those defenders, you know it's dead. So your eyes then come down to that linebacker. He literally, like Devin just said, his back is turned. He is literally turning and sprinting away from you. The shallow route is coming into your vision. 1st and 10, Bryce, take it, but he's feeling good. It's a mistake you learn from. It's okay to make mistakes, but you don't want to be a repeat offender.
There you go, Jake.
Don't be a repeat offender.
Can't be a repeat offender. Coaches hate it. I hate it. We all hate it. We don't want to see a guy making the same mistakes, and we're not seeing that from Bryce. We want to see different mistakes, and this is a different one that I think he needed, and I love it.
Yep. All right. Stepping aside, our final break here. It's been a lot of fun with Devin. We're now going to talk about the defense on the other side of the break and preview Nebraska. It is conference play time. Huge game for Bryce. Huge game for the Wolverines. A must-win game without Sharon Moore on the sideline. We appreciate you guys so much. We're going to ask you again, hit that like button, that subscribe button. Follow us at the Blueprint UM on all social platforms. We'll see you on the other side.
All right, we're back. Last segment. Oh, but before we get started, it is a reminder that we have to give you like, subscribe, follow, Blueprint U of M, the Blueprint U of M, the Blueprint U of M.
Turn on the notifications too. I mean, gosh, what do you got? You guys don't want to wait too long for these breakdowns.
Notifications is crazy. Hey, This is the thing, Jake. I learned this thing. This is what you do. When you say something good and I really agree, I say this.
Why is that?
It's called like you clock it, I guess.
Nice. Clock it. Like the 40
Hey,
times.
we learn something new every day.
Yep.
All right, man. Hey, say it again so I can clock it. Go ahead.
Turn on those notifications. You guys don't want to wait too long for these shows. Clock it, baby.
Oh, you got to do this too.
Clock it.
Here's our last segment. You called the game. You saw a lot of different things that you liked and didn't like. I really want to know what you saw from the defense, and then we'll transition to a little bit of Nebraska and with the problems they present.
Man, the defense, Wink Martindale kind of described it. He said, listen, I think we got a defense, especially the defensive front, that they play like bullies. And I thought that showed up in this game big time. And, Barham and Ernest Hausman that's one of the best linebacker duos in all of college football. They're outstanding. But
hey, Jake, one time, remember the first episode when I said I really want to see them put Barham on the edge more?
Yes. Yep.
He's darn near a defensive end now. But go ahead.
Yes. So to that point, and why they've been able to do it is Jimmy Rolder and Cole Sullivan, their backup linebackers, are outstanding. Those guys would start at most schools in the Big Ten. I'm just saying, like, that is an outstanding duo. So what Wink said is, he's like, hey, I think we're going to see some 3 and even 4 linebacker packages. That showed up against Central Michigan. To what you just said, DG, they put Jay Sean on the edge and then would rotate the other 3 guys on the interior. Ernest Hausman showed up on the injury report pregame, but looked healthy. And Barham was unblockable. He was a thorn in the side of Central Michigan. They literally could do nothing, and he was hitting guys and punishing guys. He was truly, truly unblockable. Here's a crazy stat. This is crazy. The Wolverines were credited with a historic. They got a 100% pressure rate when they didn't blitz.
That's crazy.
So when they didn't blitz, they still got a 100% pressure rate, and so much of that was Barham and the interior of the defensive line. Absolute bullies. Zeke Berry, there's some injuries in the secondary. So what that meant was freshmen had to step up. Jaden Sanders, number 27, he's getting some playing time. Elijah Dotson was getting some playing time. Shamari Earls, we saw him in there. But those guys are stepping up. Jair Hill was playing like the cornerback one and the veteran that you need him to be. Mm-hmm. Brandon Hillman, there was a few times where Central Michigan...
He's so angry. I love it.
He plays with anger. He's a throwback. And so last week when we're talking about Michigan against Oklahoma, Michigan would run those bubble screens and smoke screens as an extension of the run game out to the edge. And Oklahoma's secondary they were the hammer, not the nail. They were beating the blockers to the punch and causing those plays to be negatives. Well, Central Michigan, they don't really have a downfield passing attack. So they run these bubbles and screens. And it was 3rd and short, 4th and short, down in the red zone. They try to run the bubble in the screen, and Brandon Hillman comes in, and he is the hammer, thumping the point of attack blocker and then leading with the TFL. I think Mason Curtis might have been in there. A heat-seeking missile. I think Curtis was in there. But my goodness, just blowing plays up. So I was really, really impressed. They're going to need it this week. Yeah. Can you get pressure on Dylan Raiola? That's going to be critical. But what they're doing, they have so many different answers and so many different packages defensively that all in all was a great performance.
Yeah, Jake, what Barham allowed you to do, you said that you talked about that 4-man rush, 100% rush rate. Yeah. I don't know what the numbers are, but I bet when the Buccaneers beat the Kansas City Chiefs, that was probably about where the number was in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
When the Eagles beat the Patriots, I bet that's about where it was. 4 rushers for Tom Brady. When the Giants beat the Patriots 2 times, that's probably about where it was, right? So
when Michigan beat Ohio State for the first time back in 2021.
Right. That's the formula for a really talented quarterback. Whether he's a good mover or not, you get pressure with 4 because now that elite processing ability, doesn't matter. There's no open space. There's guys everywhere because they're only rushing 4, and you can dedicate other guys to the pass game. So Barham, he really gives you options, if
He's
you
the
will.
key.
And I talked about it, dude. When he first came to Michigan, I talked about it. I talked about it on this show previously.
Yeah.
I thought that they would use him more last year because of his ability as a freshman. When he was a freshman, they would take him out of that middle at Maryland, put him on the edge. And right then I said, he's probably their best pass rusher, but he's so good in the middle, you got to have him there too. Well, now we got guys in the middle. Let's put our weapons where our weapons belong and let him rush the quarterback. I love that they've made kind of that change. Hasn't full-time moved there. However, that's something they can do a bunch, scoot other guys in. So now you got Brandon Graham, a defensive end, a great defensive end against a guard, and he's going to strip sack Tom Brady to win the Super Bowl. Right?
Yeah.
Guards aren't good at dealing with the rushers on the outside. So when you move them inside, it is easy pickings, and in the words of Shaq, barbecue chicken.
Barbecue chicken, baby.
Barbecue chicken, man. So the answer this week, because I think really highly of Dylan Raiola. Outstanding. Or farming or wanting to be like Patrick Mahomes aside, he does an outstanding job. Even as a true freshman a year ago, watching him process. Now, sometimes his footwork got him in trouble, but it was always his eyes that I wanted to see from, and that's what you want to see from a young quarterback. Are they having their eyes in the right space, whether they make the throw or not? Obviously, he's got arm talent. He would miss some throws. However, his eyes were usually in the right place, playing quarterback the right way with your feet and eyes. Now, you go have an offseason, you watch, you see, I was a little trashy with my feet.
Yeah.
My arm, I didn't have to do that arm angle right there. I could have just thrown it regular, all that. You assess that, and then you move forward. Now you have a starting space because you see coverage well. And so his second year, he's a much better player, but he had a really good ground to stand on. So with a better player, you're going to have some downfield passing. They give him some freedom. He's going to have some shots to make. He's going to get into RPO, all those different things. The answer, make the picture very blurry in the back end and get to him with 4. No matter how good you are, no quarterback wants to live under those conditions.
Yeah, I mean, Nebraska, it's been the storyline for a number of years where they've just been so many frustrating losses, close losses. They haven't been able to get over the hump. It's a mental opportunity. And last year, they made a change at offensive coordinator, Dana Holgerson. They brought him in late in the season. And if you look at Raiola's statistics with Dana Holgerson calling plays, he's a completely different quarterback. And now his QBR, I think, is top 10 or top 15 in college football. He's playing outstanding. And I completely agree. Can you win those early downs? Because they don't have depth in the running back position. And I would take Michigan's front 6 and 7 against Nebraska's offensive line. Win the early downs, get into obvious passing situations, and then tee off with your pass rush. And then defensively, they run a 3-3-5 system. Last year, they had these 2 big beasts in the middle, Nash Hutchmaker and Ty Robinson. They don't have big 320-pounders that can move. It's more lean guys that move laterally. So there's a bunch of movement. It's very similar to the TCU defense that Michigan saw in the semifinals, where it's more about, can you ID the right guys and be on the same page? Challenging on the road, challenging if Giovanni Alhadi can't play. Can you ID the right guys in the run game and in pass pro will be critical. And then the last thing I'll say, Dev, is this is true, and you know this, and to our viewers, just this is what it's like being a Michigan football player. Nebraska, with all their struggles that they've had, they are saying this is an opportunity of a lifetime to change the trajectory of their program.
Yeah.
Anytime you're playing Michigan, you are going to get your opponent's best shot, because beating Michigan is the win of the season for any opponent. But especially for Nebraska, who's now started off 3-0. They've won their last 2 games by 1 score. They won a bowl game last year. So their fan base is feeling this slow transition and turning of the tide into the program that they believe they're capable of. Now at home against Michigan, starting against a freshman quarterback, Michigan's without their head coach. This is a game that I know Matt Rule is telling his locker room, win this one, and the sky is the limit for Nebraska.
No, your
Michigan's
life changes. He's probably telling them their life changes forever.
It would, and it does, right?
It changes. Your life changes. Our trajectory is totally different. It's similar to last year when they lost to Illinois, right? If they win that game, that season looks totally different last year, right?
Great
So
point.
this is a season-changing, program-changing, life-changing game for them. And guess what? Michigan has a chance to ruin it. So what do we want to see from Bryce Underwood? And for me, it's what do I want to see from Chip Lindsey? I want to see early get him in a comfort space. Pure progression. Remember what we talked about. What is that? We're going to go, if we're starting left, 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 across the board, wherever you got to go. Your eyes take you to the right throw. If you're starting right, 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, getting your eyes in position. And then when it's not there, baby, go, baby, go.
Yeah.
I want to see 19 striking out. And I want to see another maybe 100-yard game. Probably not going to happen. You're not going to need that. However, if it happens, it happens. That's what you want to see from the Michigan offense, the Michigan defense. They got a tall task. I can't wait. It's going to be good.
Let your special players be special. I agree. Let Bryce be Bryce. Give him the keys to this offense and trust him, and the players trust him. I'll say one more element I'd add. Continue to get him outside the pocket. Get him on the move. Mm-hmm. This is the week. We talked about on the move spacing, on the move out, corner
Flood
routes.
Concepts, yep.
This is the week. On the move, double move. Nebraska is going to be prepared, and they're going to be practicing for these rollouts and naked boots. This is the week to now pump it and go deep and have a big explosive, because that'll rip the hearts out of the crowd and start to plant seeds of doubt in the mind and psyche of Nebraska. It's a good game, though.
Chip, better watch out. Jake coming. He coming for your job. Come for your job.
Chip called a great game. Gonna need it this week, though. Gonna need it this week. And
the offensive coordinator.
Maybe one day, I guess, right? But I like doing this with you, and we love doing this with you guys. Turn on those notifications. I mean, this is going to be this game basically decides Michigan season, in my opinion. It'll reveal everything of what we need to see from the Wolverines. So hit that like button, that subscribe button, turn on the notifications. We'll be with you guys next week to review the Nebraska game and preview the Michigan season going forward. DG, it's been a pleasure. It's great to see you. Thanks for hanging out, guys, on the Blueprint. We'll see you next week.